Good afternoon, students. My name is Teacher Lillian, and I'll be teaching parts of speech. And under parts of speech, we're going to major on adverbs. Adverbs. So, what are adverbs? An adverb is a word An adverb is a word that is used to modify a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Yes, an adverb is a word that is used to modify a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Now, we're going to look at the different types of adverbs, and one of them is adverbs of manner. We have different types of adverbs, and one of them is adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of frequency, and also adverbs of degree. Types of adverbs. We have adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of frequency, and finally adverbs of degree. So, we're going to start with adverbs of manner. Adverbs of manner. What are adverbs of manner? Adverbs of manner they tell us how. They tell us how something happens. Adverbs of manner tell us how something happens. Adverbs of manner tell us how something happens. Now, for example, in sentences, we have an example in a sentence here, and it says, they ate food greedily. They ate food greedily. Now, the manner in which they ate, that is greedily. They ate food greedily. Now, our adverb of manner here is greedily. I'm going to give another example. She presented. Okay. Another example. Our example number 2 of adverb of manner is she narrated her narrative greatly. Beautifully. She narrated her narrative beautifully. Now, when you look at this sentence, the manner in which the narrative was narrated was beautifully. So, the adverb of manner here is beautifully. So, this is our adverb of manner. Our adverb of manner in the first sentence was they ate the food greedily. So, our adverb of manner here is greedily. Now, when you look at the second sentence, she narrated her narrative beautifully. So, our adverb of manner here is beautifully. We have other examples. Some of the adverbs of manner are formed by adding ly to form adjectives. For example, we have an adjective. We have an adjective and the adverb of manner. The first adjective is bad. Now, but to form an adverb of manner, we add ly. We add ly. The first word is bad. And to form an adverb of manner, we have said that we add ly, so it becomes bad to badly. The second one is quiet. Quiet. When we add an ly, it becomes quietly to show how something was done. So it becomes quietly. The third adjective is recent. So when we add our ly, it becomes recently. Our fourth adjective, so that we form it to become an adverb of manner, is slow. We add an ly and it becomes slowly. Our next adjective, which we want to form an adverb, is calm. When we add an ly, it becomes calmly. Complete. We add an ly and it becomes completely. Hopeful. So when we add our ly, it becomes hopefully. We also have another one that is easy. Easy. When we add our, we have said adverb of manner. So when we add our ly, easy, it becomes easily. Busy, busily. So you can see that most of our adverbs, we are forming adverbs from adjectives by adding ly. We continue. The next one is a busy. So when we add an ly, it becomes busily. Busy. When we add ly, it becomes busily. Angry. Angry. When we add our ly, it becomes angrily. Then we have hungry. When we add our ly, it becomes hungrily. Crazy. So when we add our ly, it becomes crazily. Cheeky. You also do the same. Cheeky, it becomes cheekily. Clumsy. Clumsy, to form to get our adverb of manner, it becomes clumsily. It is also important to note that it is not all adverbs that change their form. It is not all adverbs that change their form. For example, we have the word fast. is not all adjectives. It is not all adverbs that change their form. For example, we have fast. For example, in a sentence, we can say she walked fast. The manner in which she walked was fast. Now you can see this one, we have not added an ly. So our adverb of manner here is fast. We also have other adverbs that do not change their form, like had, outside, straight, together, etc. So it is not all adverbs. It is not all adverbs that change, that we add an ly. Now that is adverbs of manner, and we have said they explain how something happens. We have given several examples. For example, they ate food greedily. We have also said that most of the sentences that belong to this category of adverbs of manner, they change their form by adding an ly. Now, I want us to go to the next category of adverbs. We have already seen the adverbs of manner. I want us to go to adverbs of time. Let's start with adverbs of place. Adverbs of place. Now when you look at adverbs of place, they tell us where something happens. They tell us where something happens. Now this may include here, there, nearby. Those are some of the examples of adverbs of place. Now examples. Examples of adverbs of place include here. We can see that adverbs of place tell us where something happens. Adverbs of place are normally placed after a sentence, object, or main verb. And they include, the examples include here, there, nearby, far away, behind, everywhere, around, backward, homeward, down, among others. Now, we're going to look at the examples in sentences. And some of the examples in sentences include, you should not have left the books there. You should not have left the books there. You can see our adverb of place is well underlined. And our adverb of place is there. You should not have left the books there. To a second example is, he lives in a house nearby. He lives in a house nearby. So, students, our adverb of place is nearby. To our third example is, they headed homeward after the church. Now our place here, our adverb of place here is homeward, because it is explaining where something happens. It is explaining where something happens. So, students, I hope you have understood about adverbs of place. They explain where something happens, and some of the examples we have said include nearby, there, down, there, nearby, homeward, including others. Now I want us to go to our third category of adverbs, and that is adverbs of time. Adverbs of time. Adverbs of time. And our adverbs of time, now time explains when. It may be today, tomorrow, in the morning, at noon, etc. So our adverbs of time, they tell us when an action happened. They tell us when an action happened. They tell us when an action happened and for how long. Adverbs of time are usually placed at the end of the sentence. Note better that adverbs of time are usually placed at the end of the sentence. And they include now, tomorrow, late, then, ago, later, yesterday, last week, the following day, etc. I repeat, they include now, tomorrow, late, then, ago, later, yesterday, last week, the following day, among others. Now we're going to look at examples in sentences, and some of the examples in sentences so that we can be able to identify the adverbs of time include they will arrive next week. They will arrive next week. So here our adverb of time is next week. We go to our next example. She traveled to Kampala yesterday. She traveled to Kampala yesterday. So our adverb of time here is yesterday. We go to our next example. That is, we have to start the work now. We have to start the work now. So our adverb of time here is now. We go to our next example in sentences. He has been in this school for 6 years. He has been in this school for 6 years. So our adverb of time here is 6 years. So you can see next week, yesterday, now, 6 years are our adverbs of time. They are explaining when something happened. They are explaining when something happened. So we go to our next type of adverb. So we have already looked at adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time. So I want us to go to the fourth category of adverbs, and that is adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency. We have already tackled adverbs of manner, adverbs of place. We have also already tackled adverbs of time. Now we're going to the fourth category, that is adverbs of frequency. Now, under the first one, we said that they explain how something happened. Place, we said it explains where. Time, it explains when. And we have given some of the examples. That is, it includes today, tomorrow, yesterday, 6 years, etc. Now I want us to go to the adverbs of frequency. And the adverbs of frequency, they answer the question how often. They answer the question how often. How often something happens. How often. How often an action or something happens. They include always, ever, often an action happens. I've said they include always, ever, often an action happens. There are other examples include frequently, ever, often, frequently, commonly, regularly, usually, occasionally, seldom, never, biennially, annually, perennially, fortnight, daily, etc. So they include always. Adverbs of frequency include always, ever, often, frequently, commonly, regularly, usually, occasionally, seldom, never, biennially, annually, perennially, fortnight, daily, etc. Now we're going to look at these adverbs of frequency one by one. For example, always. Always means all the times. So you can see, or it means ever. It is a synonym of ever. So some of the examples we have said of adverbs of frequency include always. Now I'm going to give an example. She always. Comes home. Now our adverb of frequency here is always. I've said it means all times, on every occasion. It is a synonym. You know that synonyms are similar words. And so the synonym of always is ever. Its synonym is every, whereas the opposite is never. Example in sentences we have, they always finish their work on time. They always finish their work on time. So our adverb of frequency there is always. They always finish their work on time. So our adverb of frequency there is always. We're also going to look at another category of adverb of frequency, that is frequently. Frequently. Yes, our adverb of frequency, that is frequently. Frequently means many times, in many cases. It also means the same as often. Frequently means many times, in many cases. It also means the same as often. So we're going to look at an example in a sentence, and it says, the pupils frequently go to school by bus. The pupils frequently go to school by a bus. So our adverb of frequency here is frequently, in many times. So we're also going to look at another adverb of frequency, that is regularly. Regularly. Regularly is another example of frequency. Regularly means regular intervals. It means regular intervals. For example, in the sentence, he pays his grandparents a visit regularly to help them with chores. So our adverb of frequency here is regularly. We go to our next adverb of frequency, the fourth example of adverb of frequency, that is usually. Usually. Usually means in the way that is usual or normal. It means in the way that it is usual or normal. For example, in a sentence. Henry usually plays football at the weekend. Henry usually plays football at the weekend. Usually is our adverb, is our fourth adverb of frequency. Is our another example. Now we go to the next example. Our next example of adverb of frequency, that is occasionally. From the word occasion. So we're going to look at that adverb, occasionally, as our adverb of frequency. Occasionally. from the word occasion. Occasionally. It means sometimes, from time to time, every so often, periodically, or once in a while. So we're going to look at its example. They occasionally use their dictionaries to check the pronunciation of words. They occasionally use their dictionaries to check the pronunciation of words. We're also going to look at another example, that is a seldom. Seldom means not often. It is also synonyms. Its synonyms include rarely, hardly, hardly ever, scarcely, once in a blue moon, and scarcely ever. Opposite, often, frequently. So an example in the sentence include, it seldom rains in the desert. It seldom rains in the desert. It seldom rains in the desert. So we're also going to look at our next example of an adverb of frequency, and that is never. Never. We said frequency, adverbs of frequency, they explain how often something happens. So we have said that we're looking at the other example of adverb of frequency, that is never. 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 Never means not at any time, or not on any occasion. Not, she never goes home. So not at any time or not at any occasion. An example in sentence is, his family never fails to go to church. His family never fails to go to church. We're going to look at another one, that is biennially. Biennially means happening once every. Bi means two. Biennially means happening once every 2 years. Happening once every 2 years. We're going to look at an example. It rains biannually in most parts of Kenya. It rains biannually. Annually means yearly. So when we say biannually means 2. So it rains biannually in most parts of Kenya. We're also going to look at another one, annually. Annually means yearly, or once per year. And an example in the sentence is, they hold their general meeting annually. They hold their general meeting annually. So those are some of the examples of adverbs of frequency. I want us to look at another example of adverb of frequency, explaining how often, that is perennially. 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 Perennially happening again and again. Perennially happening again and again. And an example in a sentence is, the water shortage in our country has been happening perennially, again and again. So our adverb of frequency here is perennially. We go to the other one, that is as on our screens, fortnightly. Fortnightly. Yes, fortnightly. A fortnight means in 2 weeks. Fortnight means 2 weeks, happening after 2 weeks. Happening after 2 weeks. And an example in the sentence is, they attend practice fortnightly. They attend practice fortnightly. So, students, Those are some of the examples that we have looked at that belong to this category of adverbs of frequency. And I've said that our adverbs of frequency, they explain how often something happens. Now I want us to move to the fifth category of adverbs. Fifth category of adverbs, and that is under adverbs of degree. We said we are measuring on adverbs of degree. So we have already looked at adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of frequency, and we have said they explain how often something happens. They explain how often something happens. So I want us to look at adverbs of degree. Adverbs of degree. And adverbs of degree, they usually answer the question to what extent. They answer to what extent something happens. They answer the question to what something happens, or the intensity of something. Adverbs of degree, they answer the question to what extent. They tell us about the intensity of something. They tell us about the intensity of something. Now, students, adverbs of degree are placed before the adjective, adverb, or verb. They intensify. Adverbs of degree include extremely, to, so, very, rather, quite, fairly, and enough. Say that adverbs of degree include extremely, to, so, very, rather, quite, fairly, and enough. Now we're going to look at the examples of these adverbs of degree that explains to what extent. We're going to start with extremely. And you can see that on our screens, extremely is used with adverbs and adjectives to show a very high degree. A very high degree. An example in sentences: the work is extremely, a very high degree. It's extreme. The work is extremely difficult. The work is extremely difficult. On to our next adverb of degree, we're going to look at to. You have come across that word to, so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that adverb to. An adverb of frequency, to. To, it is used to mean that it is more than good, necessary, possible, etc. Now, examples in sentences include: the exercise was too difficult for him. The exercise was too difficult for him. Our other example of adverb of degree that shows the intensity of something, that is so. So, it means to such a great degree. To such a great degree. And an example or in sentences include: he appears so angry. He appears so angry. Such a great degree. So, we can say that so can also be used to show the size, amount, or number of something. We're going to look at examples, and another example in a sentence, that is: the animal's eyes are so big. The animal's eyes are so big. So that is another example. That is the third example of adverb of frequency. that shows to what extent, it shows the intensity of something. So we're going to look at another adverb of frequency, and that is very. Our other type of adverb, that is very. Very means in a high degree. In a high degree. And an example in a sentence is, it is a very entertaining story. It is a very entertaining story. Very can also be used to emphasize a superlative, a more superior adjective, superlative from the word superior. And an example in the sentence include, it is the very best storybook I have. It is the very best storybook I have. So students, I want us to go to the other example of adverb of frequency. Our other example of adverb of frequency, and that is rather. Rather is our other example of adverb of frequency. Rather, it means to some degree. It means to some degree. It is often used when expressing slight criticism, disappointment, or surprise. And an example in a sentence is, the weather is rather gloomy. The weather is rather gloomy. So that is another example of adverb of frequency, that is rather. I want us to go to another example of adverb of frequency, that is quite. 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 Most of the students are not able to differentiate between quiet and quite. Quite is an adverb of degree that is used to show to what extent something has happened or something is done. So quite means to some degree. It means the same as pretty, slightly, moderately, or fairly. And an example in a sentence is, it was quite a good day. 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 So that is another example of adverb of frequency that explain to what extent or the intensity of something. Now, I want us to go to another example of adverb of frequency, and that is fairly. Fairly, it means to some extent, but not very high. To some extent, but not very high. And an example in a sentence is, he did fairly well in the test. He did fairly well in the text. Now, I've said that fairly means to some extent, but not very high. We have given an example in a sentence, he did fairly well in the test. So those are some of the examples that we have come across under adverbs of degree, and we have said that these adverbs of degree, they answer the question to what extent something happens. These are the adverbs. Adverb of manner explain how something happens, and some of the examples that we gave include greedily, angrily, we said that most of the adverbs of manner are formed by adding ly, but not all of them, since we have others like fast, etc. Adverbs of place, some of the examples, let us add other examples of adverbs of manner: greedily, angrily, fast, slowly, etc. Adverbs of place, they explain where something happens, and they include examples of adverbs of place include here, there, nearby, downtown, etc. Adverbs of time, they explain when something happens, when something or when it happened. For example, or it's about to we have yesterday, today, tomorrow, next year, etc. We adverbs of frequency, we have given many examples. Always, never, etc. Adverbs of degree, we said they explain to what extent something happens. So we have extremely, quite, to, extremely, quite, to, so, etc. So those are our adverbs. So I'm going to give we're going to do some questions together so that we are able to identify the type of the adverb, and we also classify it into the type of adverb. I'm going to give some sentences, and we're going to identify the adverbs, and we're going to classify the type of adverb it belongs to. They were rather disappointed by the news. They were rather disappointed by the news. They were rather disappointed by the news. So, in this sentence, we are supposed to identify our adverb. Now, they were rather disappointed by the news. They were rather disappointed by the news. So our adverb here is rather. I'm going to give another example. our next sentences that we are supposed to identify the adverbs include: they walked slowly to church. They walked slowly to church. Now, our adverb here is slowly. They walked slowly. The manner in which they walked was slowly. So this is our adverb and it belongs to the category adverb of manner. Adverb of manner. And the next question is, she will join school next year. She will join school next year. So our adverb here is next year. And this one is adverb of time. It is telling us when the girl or the lady is going to join the school. So she will join the school next year. On to our last sentence. We live nearby. We live nearby. So our adverb here is nearby. And nearby, we live nearby to show place. It's an adverb of place. An adverb of place. We live nearby. We live nearby. Another example. The sun is extremely hot. The sun is extremely hot. The sun is extremely hot. So our adverb here is extremely. To the extent in which the sun is hot here is extremely. And we said that the adverb that shows to which extent, that is adverb of degree. Adverb of degree. So we started with the first question. They were rather disappointed by the news. Our adverb here is rather. The second question. They walked slowly to church. They walked slowly to church. Our adverb here is slowly. She will join school next year. Our adverb here is next year. We will live nearby. That is our adverb of place. So students, I hope you have understood the meaning of adverbs, that these are words that are used to modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. And we have looked at 5 categories of adverbs, that is adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of frequency, and adverbs of degree. Adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of frequency, and adverbs of degree. Till next time, I hope that you have all understood and you're going to practice more on adverbs. Bye.